Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is the third video on my LE Wagon. This is how it looked before I sent it to the panel shop. In this video I'm going to put it all back together and you'll also have a sneak peek at the finished result. So the panel shop called and they gave me the call that I was finally waiting for. Told me the car's all painted, all the panels are back on, come take a look. This is a little pre-inspection I did the day before I picked it up. As you can see, it's quite bare, doesn't have handles. I put the bars in, the lights, front and back, and the mirrors. Somehow when they removed the rear windscreen, they ripped the original window seal and I was upset about that. And they didn't ask, they just put this little thin one in, which I wasn't happy with. So I told them you have to replace it. They don't make new ones anymore, so I found an old tailgate for $50, removed the seal myself, gave it to them, and they refitted it the next day before picking it up. This is how it came back with the brake light and the blinker the wrong way around. Change those lights later, fix that up. You can see the rubber on the rear windscreen is correct now. I put the door handles on this side, which I resprayed myself. Inside here is very bare. This is how it was at the panel shop. They cleaned it, but it needs a deeper clean. So I'm going to redo the carpet. It is pretty dusty. Show you inside the tailgate. All the carpets there need a nice clean. And the quarter windows are just in temporarily because they haven't given me the drip molds yet. I've got those resprayed as well. So they're just sitting in there with a couple of the plastic nuts. Nice and dusty, needs a good clean. Walk around, show you all parts of the car. Still got my work cut out for me here, putting it all back together. I'm going to take my time because I don't want to damage anything. It's all fresh paint. Definitely very shiny. A brand new factory windscreen seal and a new windscreen which is aftermarket. So I had to pull the front bar off because the lower skirt needs to be attached. There's no holes drilled into the bar. I told the panel shop to leave that to me. The bar's come off. I've attached the lower skirt there and the bar's ready to go back on. Before I do that, I've put new aftermarket headlights. That's the new one. That's the original. Also gives me an opportunity to give it a bit of a clean at the front there. So yeah, it's going to look really good, and then I'm going to put the pinstripe in on the bar, which I'm looking forward to. I'm going to start with cleaning the tailgate area. I'm going to strip out all the carpets, vacuum, wipe it down, and I'm going to pressure clean the carpets on the sides and on the bottom. While I'm working on the back of the car, decided to put the stop lamp back in the tailgate on the rear window. One thing I never got around to before sending the car away to get painted was to refresh the quarter windows. The rubbers go really bad and they're all dull and faded, basically down to rubber. So I put plastic primer on them after rubbing them back, and then I throw a coat of black paint over them as well. So this is the finished result after painting them black. They're not perfect, but they look a lot better. and it's just going to look a lot better when I put the molds in. But these are just sitting in there still because I don't have the actual drip molds yet, which actually go behind this quarter window. I'm just stripping off the masking tape here. The masking tape took us just as long as painting the damn things, to be honest. The engine's full of dust. It's in the panel shop for many months. This is how it's come back. At least it's not grease, so it's easy to clean up, so I'm going to give it a nice clean. I fitted the front bar back on, the grille as well, and now I'm doing the pinstripe. Makes a big difference to the car, really sets it off. Had to do the same with the back bar as well, putting the pinstripe just for the final touches. Also marked up the old Holden Australia's Driving Future sticker and replaced that. Just wanted to make sure I got it in the exact right spot. Clean the whole interior so the carpet's nice and clean now, so I decided to start putting the seats back in. Fit it all back up. Now the temporary driver's seat's out, I can clean the carpet under there properly, give it a good vacuum before putting in the front seats. Let's get those front seats in. Going to start to look like a car real soon. I got a new set of handles off of VR Commodore. I rubbed them back and resprayed them. Prefer them because the handle part is metal as well over the VNVP. I also redid the roof racks and the roof rack strips to match. This is the progress so far. I've got all the bars on, stripes, handles are in, all the seats are in. Interior wise, I just need to do the door trims and pretty much the roof lining, and it's all complete. The side skirts still need to go on, and a few other bits and pieces. Time to put the door trims back on. Some of the clips on the back do break on these, so I glued them back on, and I carefully put them on to make sure that they hold in nice and good, because I don't plan on taking them off anytime soon. Now that the car's painted, hopefully that's it for quite some time. One of the back doors is missing its dust cover, so I've got this one off another door, but it was a non-power window model, so I'm just cutting out where the power window switch is so I can attach it to the rear door. Time to put the hood lining back in. I've got a helping hand. It's a lot larger to handle than the sedan. I've done it on my own before, but it's easier with two. Now that the hood lining's back in, I need to put the A-pillar trims on, hand grips, sun visors, things like that, just to complete it. Time to put the original Momo back on. I had this one on there to protect the original because that was at the panel shop. Who knows what can happen. I'll put the original on. The panel shop called me, let me know that the drip molds are painted. Went down, picked them up, just have to strip off all the masking tape and add them to the car. So I had to take the quarter windows out one more time. I put the drip molds in. They actually go behind the windows, as you can see there, with some screws. Now I'm going to put some sealant on those windows, put them back in so they don't leak. This is how it looks when it's done. Done both sides. All the molds are on the doors, on the roof line. Put the rear spoiler on as well, which I didn't have a video of, but you'll see that later. And I've outsourced this to my brother. He's putting the molds on, the factory molds on the sides of the car. He's the expert, being an ex-panel beater. Today we also put the side skirts on, so the car's coming together. It's looking quite complete now. I replaced the front headlights. Even though my ones are in pretty good condition, I've got new rears as well. Had these for a couple of years. These are aftermarket, but they do look good. This is pretty much it, the finished result. There's a few little bits and pieces I still need to do. Put the decal kit on, as you can see, on the guards, on the rear. And I'm going to do another video on this down the line, since it's all complete now. But for those of you who enjoyed the video and haven't seen part 1 and 2, I do have them on the channel, but I've also put them on at the end of this video, so you can continue to watch. Thanks. Today I want to walk you around my 1989 VN SV LE wagon. I have 2 of these. This is the first one I bought back in 2018. It was a Melbourne car. My brother came along for the ride. We flew up and we drove it back the same day. It is sun-kissed. It's been touched up in a few places over the years, so it's faded. It's firethorn red. It's the colour that was on the VC Brox, came out on the VB. The SV LE sedans were all in Marinello red, which was of the VH Brock. So HSV must have chose the Brocky colours for these wagons and the sedans. I'm planning to have the car painted mid-year, so I wanted to have a before video so I can show you a follow-up later. Let's hear Holden's V8. The LE has a 180 kilowatt V8, the standard was 165 kilowatts. Back in 1989, an SV LE wagon cost just under $44,000, and they claimed it could do 6.9 seconds 0 to 100, which would probably mean it's the quickest HSV wagon until the LS1 VT Senator Signature wagon in 1999. As with most of my cars, I took the SV LE down the quarter mile at Eastern Creek. I was able to get 14.7. I was pretty happy with that. With these old cars, it's not about speed. I mean, it's a 34-year-old car, and it was able to get 14.7, which is quicker than the factory times, so you know it's healthy. The LE wagon ran a brand new wheel design. It was a 5-spoke family wheel. Looks like the SV5000 wheel, but they had a protruding center cap because they ran these in 7 inches, whereas the SV5000 wheels are 8 inch. In contrast, the SV LE sedans ran the old Walkinshaw wheels, but they were color-coded Marinello red. The sedans ran the SV body kit, which was off the SV89, but the wagons, they kept the original bumpers. They got the single slot grille and an extended air dam on the bottom, which is very similar to a VNSS. The wheelbase of the wagon is the same as the Statesman, but the Statesman wasn't released yet. So the side skirts on this car are cast by HSV, they're fiberglass. Once the Statesman was released, any SV enhanced wagons use the Statesman side skirts instead. Let's take a look inside. Basing it on its outside condition, you'd think the inside would be pretty rough, but I think you might be surprised. All SV LE wagons came standard with roof racks. I've refreshed those in preparation for the paint job, and I've got new strips for the roof as well. Even though it's faded on the outside, panel wise it's reasonably straight. Mechanically it's in pretty good shape. The engine bay is also in pretty good shape as well. I'm not going to repaint in here. I just want to do a closed door respray. When I bought the car, it didn't have the original SV airbox, so I've added that in as well. Let's have a look at the interior. All the premium models on the VN had the VL Walkinshaw seat bases. SV5000, SV89, SV LE sedan and wagons. And some enhancement cars also had these SV front seats. These were pretty much the Denvenish seats of the day for VN. Even though the Denvenish seat did come out for the VN Group A, that's the only model VN that had those seats. These wagons were Berliner based. They came standard with central locking, power windows, power mirrors, air conditioning, 4-speaker stereo system. Compared to the sedans, they did miss out on the trip computer. At the time, the wiring harness on these wagons did not have the wiring for the trip computer. The only VM wagons to have headrests on the rear seats are the SV models. The door trims are covered in velour on all the SV LE models. HSV did a little bit of restyling of the rear seat and raised the centre bit. It's not as flat as a normal executive or Berliner rear seat. The seats also have that famous red piping of the 80s. All the SV LEs came with the SV Momo. This has the steering wheel horn pad as well. You can see the SV in the seats. I restored this steering wheel about 4 or 5 years ago. It's holding up pretty well. This was my daily drive for a few years. The bolsters on these models are trimmed differently to the sedans. On the sedans, this fabric is here, but they separate it with the wagon for some reason. I think it's better, breaks it up a lot more. That's the original SV steering wheel. I've added the pedals, a VX, original dash. It's got an aftermarket head unit, the original velour door trims. The back seat, it's pretty comfortable. Let's go for a little drive. In this video, I stripped the wagon and sent it to the panel shop just to show the progress. The first thing I removed was the side skirts. They're fiberglass. There is a little bit of damage where the mounting points are, but they'll be repaired. And in here you can see decades of gravel that's been flicked up through the tyres over the years. The sills are in really good condition. It's a 34-year-old car, so no real complaints there. Pretty happy. Time to remove the rear bar, and this is how you do it by starting to remove the reflectors to get to the bolts. I removed the rear tailgate wiper and motor. Now it's time to remove the front seat. I'm going to put an old seat in this car so that when it's moved around at the panel shop, I've got something to sit in. And I'm also going to remove the steering wheel because I don't want any damage happening to my original Momo. And I'll just put an old Momo that I've got hanging around. When it comes to seats, this one's seen better days. It's a VN Calais seat, leather one. Putting it in, it'll do the job. This is the Momo wheel I put on. Alright, let's get this rear bar off. I'm not going to reuse this bar. I've got a very clean VN Executive bar. So it's a genuine bar, second hand, that I've had hanging around for a while. This one has a lot of stress marks in the middle. Earlier I removed the inner seat pillar plastics so I can get to the plastic 10mm nuts that hold the windows in. You have to take these out to take out the drip molds that run along the window. No major surprises under there, quite clean. There's a bit of glue residue and some minor rust on the bottom, just surface rust. Should be very easy for the panel shop to clean up. Now let's remove the window surrounds. On the front door, it's best to remove the mirror so you can get the drip mold off. I'm going to leave the mirror because I'm driving the car down, so I'm just going to leave it in with one screw. I've removed probably hundreds of these door trims over the years, so that's basically autopilot for me. Very, very easy. You know, these cars like the back of my hand. Because the car's over 30 years old, it's common when you take these door trims off that sometimes the clips do break off and stay in the door, but they can be easily glued back on. Removing the bottom of the rear seat is not one of my favourite jobs. Even though I've done a lot of them, sometimes they can be a bit of a bitch. Glad that one's out. The rest of the seat's nice and easy. Just a few bolts. It's quite heavy though in the wagon, much heavier than the sedan. The seat belt needs to be released as well because there's this little elastic that's held on there, as you can see. Just needs to be threaded through to remove the seat. And there you have it, the rear seat's removed. Let's get the front passenger seat out. The driver's is already done. It'll be the only seat that I have in the car when I take it to the panel shop. Time to strip out the hood lining. fixed parts are removed, so now we can slide it through the back tailgate area. Well, that's it, it's out. Bare roof. Put the rear vision mirror back on so I can drive it down. Time to remove something very easy, the grille, 3 screws on the top, a couple of lugs on the bottom of the bumper bar. Done. Remove the bonnet because it's got a couple of high spots, and I'm going to use a second-hand bonnet that I've had for a while for the car. Same for the guard, wasn't happy with the guard. I've got a good second-hand guard there. This is the new bonnet. Came off a VN Lexan that I stripped many years ago. It's actually very straight. It will be full paint stripped at the shop. I'm using another good second-hand bar for this car. The other bar, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to use it for my other LE, at least for the time being until I get that one touched up. It'll sort of be all one colour. All the extra parts are loaded up, ready for the panel shop. I'm replacing this door. Under the mould, it was lifted and the water was gathering, so there's some rust there. Just nice and easy to put a nice new clean panel on it. This is the second-hand VS door for the rear. The rear bar replacement from a van executive. So the Wagon's now fully loaded up with all the parts that the panel shop will need, including the front skirt, door, guard replacement. The paint stripping begins at the panel shop, the front guard and the bonnet, because there was a lot of material on these, but they're straight panels. The car's partially stripped down now, as you can see here. Both front and rear windscreens have been removed. Some of the panels have now been high filled. The grille's been painted Firethorn red. It's on a Tesla boot. The rear bar has also been painted. The spoiler, the tailgate, the guard and a couple of the doors have also been sprayed. Looking very shiny. Really looking forward to seeing the end result. The car's been at the panel shop for about a month now. The rear tailgate, bonnet and two of the doors still need to be blocked, and the roof needs to be painted as well as the quarter panels, and it'll be very close to being complete. Look out for the next video on this LE. I'll be putting it all back together and it'll be fully painted. Thanks for watching, guys. Guys, thanks for watching. If you got this far, you've probably seen all the 3 parts. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next video.